Hey guys, it's Smudge here, and I'm back in Elite Dangerous. Now, I've been playing this over the weekend. I've got a couple of hours play under my belt now, so I've kind of got more of an idea about what's going on and you know, what the game involves and how to earn money and things like that. So I thought I'd do another video kind of sharing my experiences, what I've kind of found out over the last couple of days, and see if I can give some helpful tips and things that might help you as a new player if you decide to pick up the game move forward. Now, the first thing you might notice is that I'm not in the Sidewinder anymore, the default ship. I've bought myself a hauler, which is a lightly armoured transport ship. Now, the first thing I did do, I took the gun out. It came with a C2 pulse laser, but as you can see, every weapon has a weight to it, and the pulse laser was 4 tons. So by taking that out, I found it's actually given me a bit more range to play with. So I get to jump further with more cargo, which is more profitable. And also I found that if I do come under contact, if an enemy comes after me or someone thinks they can take me on, I just generally kind of hit the afterburners, pull away as fast as I can with maximum power to the engines, and then make a jump. So this is the hauler. It's a pretty nice ship. It is pretty fast. Not quite as fast as the Sidewinder and some of the other ships in the game, but it's enough to kind of get you about and do what you need to do. Right, so again, this is kind of like the inside of the ship, and at the moment I'm in Chango Dock, which is in the Ibutis system. And what I actually wanted to show you, we'll just go to the galaxy map here. We'll just load this up. I always love this bit. Right, so here we go. This is where I am, which is Ibutis. Now this is all, might look a bit kind of complex at the moment. It's but everything in here, it kind of means something. So right, Ibutis, that's where I am at the moment, where that triangle is. Now if we go into navigation here, you can kind of search system names and see, you know, where you want to go. Now all these kind of like cobweb of lines, they mean something. Now the blue lines, they're places I can jump with maximum tonnage. So when I'm absolutely full of cargo, which is 16 tons in hauler, I can jump to these places without having to worry. You know, I don't need to reduce the amount of cargo I need to get to these places. Now the places in the grey lines, places I can go with my current tonnage. Now there is a slider for this as well, so if you want to say, right, I want to jump to BD 472112, how can I get there? So as default I could do it in 2 jumps. I could jump to LHS 3006 and then in, or I could jump to all in and in. But if I start increasing my cargo, so if I come up to let's have a look, so that's 6 tons, 10 tons, right, so there we go. Now when I get to 10 tons, if I'm carrying 10 tons of cargo, I can jump to all in, but then I can no longer jump to BD 47. So using that, I can kind of plan a route and say, right, okay, so I need to take so much cargo somewhere. How can I get there? You know, what can I do in order to make the jump? Now if I was to fill out my cargo, as you can see, I couldn't get to BD 47 with full cargo. I can jump to Morgor, but then I can't jump after that. I simply don't have enough kind of jump distance with the fuel and maximum tonnage. It doesn't allow me to jump that far. So that's a very handy tool first thing, in order to plan jumps and see whereabouts you can get to, because when you first start in the Sidewinder, you might go into the bulletin board and look for missions, and it'll give you somewhere to jump to, let's say Rakapilla here. Now that's somewhere you can't jump to in a Sidewinder. You can't get out of this initial system because it simply doesn't have enough jump range. So until you get a bigger ship, there are quite big limitations on whereabouts you can go in the map. So you need to kind of be very aware about where you can jump, how far you can jump, and what you can carry in order to make certain jumps as well. So Blue lines are good because they're places I can go even with full cargo. Grey lines mean that I need to do a bit more planning first. Now, also another cool thing in the galaxy map here, if we go into view, you've got this realistic view, and then you've got this map view. Now, this might all look absolutely crazily complex. It's all just full of different colours going different places, and it's all a right mess. But it's also full of really, really good information. Now, if we concentrate on Ibutus here, you can see that there's different lines coming in and going out. And what these are trade routes. Okay, and every colour, if we look down here, links to a different type of technology or a different product. And the lines coming in show that's what Ibutus needs. That's, you know, cargo, or yeah, let's say cargo. It's cargo that Ibutus needs, and the lines coming out are what it's supplying to different places. So Owlin is supplying Ibutus with green, which I believe comes down to medicines and food. So if I turn off medicines, there you go, so that flicks off. So that's medicine. Owlin is supplying Ibutus with medicine. And what that means is if you start transporting medicines from Owlin to Ibutus, you'll often find that you'll get much more in the way of revenue than transporting something else. Now also Ibutus is good at supplying Owlin with food. It doesn't really kind of show it on here, but if I... yeah, you can kind of turn it off, but I know that I can make a profit moving food or fish from Ibutus to Owlin. And then what I can do is then pick up medical supplies and bring them from Owlin back to Ibutus, and then make a pretty good profit actually. And as a start, as a place to start, doing this little short trip, because it's something that you can easily do with even the Sidewinder because it's a very short jump, you can maximize your cargo, and then just by jumping between these two planets, Ibutus and Owlin, you can actually make a fairly decent profit straight off the bat. So that's a good tip for new players. So try to get to Ibutus and then just jump between the two, transporting fish one way and then machinery or medical supplies the other way, and that does work really well. And that's you know, that's increased my profit margins exponentially over the past day. Other things in here, you just got show star names, regional names, things like this, navigation markers, so you know, you can turn off what you want, but that's basically kind of how the galaxy map works. And yeah, it is a very, very handy tool, and something that you need to get quite familiar with first off. Otherwise you may find out that you'll accept a contract to jump somewhere. You get about halfway there and realise that you can't actually jump any further because of jump limitations and fuel limitations and things like that. So right, now if we go into Starport Services, so we'll just wait for that to load up here. Now the bulletin board, first off, this is always a good place to kind of start. So I'm in Ibutus, and I know I'm going to Owlin anyway, so I can look at this, and they want me to transport certain things like a message or certain amounts of cargo to Owlin. Now I'm going there anyway, so it's good for me to accept a contract, because even for just making that journey I'll earn a little bit more credits. Now 176 isn't much, but it's enough to pay for the fuel. You know, it's enough to kind of give me, you know, an even greater margin of profit. So I'm going to accept that because I'm going to Owlin anyway. And then what we'll do is that we'll go in the commodities market here. And I know for a fact that I believe it's, let's have a look, fish I can transport from Owlin back to from Ibutus to Owlin, and then I can bring back terrain, I believe it's terrain enrichment. Where are they? I'm trying to look for it here. So terrain enrichment systems, I can bring those back from Owlin to Ibutus, and then I can earn a very hefty profit on those, because as you can see the demand is low, okay, over some of the other things that are here, but Owlin has a very high supply, so the cost there is much lower than what it is here. So by transporting about 10 units I can earn about 6,000 profit a jump, which in the early stages is quite a lot of profit to make. So what I'm going to do is load up on fish here, okay, because there's a good supply here, and I know that that Owlin pays good money for fish, so we'll load up there.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
So there we go, loaded up on cargo of fish, and I've also got the contract there to Owlin as well, which is very handy. So we'll just exit this, we'll return up to the surface, and then we'll just wait for the lift to come down and the ship to move forward here. And what I can do as well, if I just check my fuel, yep, got good fuel. I can just lock in my destination there, ready on my map. Let's make sure that there's nothing above me. Hit launch.
Ship released. Engines engaged.
And then just boosting upwards here. Pulling my landing gear. And again, just kind of checking above me, making sure I'm not going to hit anything on my way up here. Now on the radar, as you can see in the centre there, you've got different icons. You've got triangles, squares and hollow squares and triangles. Now the triangles are fighters or like light aircraft like that. Squares are kind of transport type vessels. And then the hollow square triangles are players, actual kind of other people in the game. So there we go, I've got Owlin kind of locked in on my nav computer already, so I'm just going to turn towards the jump coordinates. There we go, so lined up there. I'll just wait for the mass lock to disappear, which it has just there, and then we'll hit the jump drive or the frame shift. And just wait for that to charge up, and then we'll jump through to Owlin. Just a slightly long loading time on this, it's something I've been getting a lot recently. But, yep, there we go. So now we're jumping. Now also, about the radar on the center, we'll just come to a halt next to the sun here. Now on the left hand side of the radar where it says 63% that's going down, that's your temperature gauge. Now initially you don't really kind of have much to worry about on that, but if that temperature starts climbing up towards 150%, you'll start getting module damage, and things like your shields, engines, computers, things like that, they all take damage. And again, you know, it can cripple your ship, disable you, and also it costs a lot of money to fix when you get back to dock. To the right hand side you've got your speed, you've got your on the left hand side here where the kind of planet icon is, you've got your target information and where you're going, which at the moment is showing Owlin Enterprises. Now on the right hand side at the throttle gauge you see the little blue mark. When I've got my throttle set to that, it sets it into like an auto throttle in Supercruise, and I just leave my throttle there, I'm not touching my throttle at all. And it'll actually start adjusting its speed manually, so as you can see it's starting to slow down automatically there as we're getting closer to our target. And as rule of thumb, it'll generally keep itself about 10% of the kind of distance to speed kind of ratio. So as you can see, that's 19 light seconds, and we're doing, well, we were doing 9,000 kilometers a second. So it kind of matches itself that way. It's a bit weird how it works, but it gives you the right speed for the right approach vector. And then all you need to do is just fly the ship in order to keep your the target centered on where you want to go. And then on the right hand side of the ship icon there, where the hull and shield icons are, we'll just come out of jump here. You've got your system energy bars. Now at the moment I've got full energy into the engines. I don't have any weapons on this ship, which is a bit risky, but it kind of pays for itself in the long run because I can transport more cargo further distance. And then I've got 2 points into the system slider there, which again it provides more power to things like modules and shields and different things like that. So I'll just show you kind of, so I've reset my energy bars down, and then the maximum speed I can attain is about 135. So as you can see there, speed's 135, and that's with 2 points of energy in engine. So if I start increasing power into the engines, as you can see, I can accelerate up to about 200, which is the maximum speed of the hauler. And then if you hit your boost button, that will then boost me up to about 286, 287, which is the maximum kind of thrust speed or boost speed. And then what it can do is just wait for the energy to recharge on the engines there, and just boost it in order to kind of keep myself at a much higher speed. And by having that extra power into the engine, it kind of recharges faster, so I can keep boosting, which is handy for getting places quickly. And over this side here you've got status, modules, health, then priority grouping, weapon groups which I don't have, cargo that I'm carrying, and also functions. So if I want to turn on my lights, I can do that there just by adjusting some of the controls on the joystick and pressing a button, which is quite cool. So again, we're getting quite close to Owlin Enterprises here, so we'll just bring it up on the nav map. In fact, select contacts and request docking. And hopefully it'll give me permission. Something tells me this is going to time out. It's very annoying when this happens, and it does happen far too often, but normally after about 5 or 6 requests it will kind of give you permission to land. I'm not sure if it's because the dock is full, or if there's some kind of traffic going on or something like that, but if you just keep trying it periodically, it will accept your docking clearance. But it looks like, because I'm recording, it's not going to play the game, so we'll just wait a second here. There are ships coming and going. Also on the map there as well, you can actually increase and decrease the sensor range, so you can zoom out and zoom in, which is another quite handy thing if you need to concentrate on things closer to you. Let's just make another request here. And this one's going to time out. Normally if it accepts it, it'll accept it within the first couple of seconds. So we've got a ship just coming out there as well. It's annoying when this happens, but it's like negative Ghost Rider, the traffic pattern is full. But yeah, it gives us a chance to look at this station. I tell you, it is incredibly beautiful. It is such a well-made, good-looking station. And one thing I do really love is on this habitat ring. I hope you can kind of see that, but it's just full of parks and trees and kind of people going about their business in the habitat ring, which is, to me, that's really cool. It's a really nice touch. So again, that timed out there. So we'll just quest docking again. No, that's timed out. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause this here, and I'm going to keep request docking, and I'll resume this once we've actually got clearance and we start inbound. So rather than boring you to death with sat here for another 5 minutes waiting, just requesting docking clearance, I'll talk to you guys in a minute. So would you believe it, literally kind of 30 seconds after I stopped recording there, and I got landing access granted. So sod's law, I guess. It probably just didn't like the fact I was recording there. Literally 30 seconds, the very next request, and it's like, yep, access granted. Bugger. So here we go. We'll just fly through the door here, and then it's told us to dock in Bay 29. Now you have to ask for access before you fly in. Yeah, as you can see here, it's still pretty full. None of the bays are pretty much lit up, so... Hello, don't want to hit him. So here we go, there's 29, so we'll bring our landing gear down now, and then we'll just line up. Again, just using kind of low throttle inputs and also using the lateral thrusters just to keep myself aligned. And then as you start approaching at the right altitude, you start getting a kind of like a docking guide. Here we go. And this thing is quite helpful for telling you where you want to be. So just using low thrust, line yourself up, and then down nice and safe.
Engines disengaged.
So we just wait to lock. There we go. Then we'll pull ourselves into the hangar and go to starport services. And if we go straight to the commodities market, find our fish, and then sell it off. So even though there wasn't much demand for it, I've still made a 2,384 credit profit, which is absolutely fabulous. Can't really moan about that at all. Because the demand here is higher than what it is in Ibutis, you can always kind of make a pretty good profit on that. Then I know for a fact that the stock here is very high of terrain enrichment systems, which is something that Ibutis needs, so I load up with as much of this as I could carry, which is quite expensive. Now I am also running a risk here as well, because if my ship gets destroyed, if I get in trouble, I kind of won't be able to afford the insurance to buy the ship back, and I'll be back at square one and I'll lose everything. So sometimes it's worth just kind of keeping a little bit of a reserve, but at the moment I'm kind of being a bit greedy, and I really want to kind of earn profit as quickly as I can, so I can work my way up to a bigger ship, hopefully like a Cobra, which is like the Sidewinder, but it's got a bigger fuel load, bigger store load. You know, it can carry kind of more cargo. Oops, just accepting my my contract there as well. And it also carries a shit ton of weapons. So it's kind of like an all-around kind of everything that you want. So, you know, that's kind of where to aim for. That's my next step after this hauler. So there are contracts here. Now, when you're first starting out, it's a good idea to kind of have a look where you can jump to. Accept a contract going there. You know, they vary in cost from over 1,000 credits, you know, depending on the distance that you've got to jump, so they can be quite profitable. And if you know that you have to go somewhere like a light cargo run, try and fill up with some cargo that might be going there as well, so you can kind of maximize your profit per jump. Now I've still got 76% fuel in here, so I don't really need to refuel at the moment, because I'm just doing like 3 light years per jump. I'm not really kind of burning that much fuel, so you know, by doing this route, it really is kind of maximizing my profit potential every jump, which is really kind of handy. And you might find it a bit boring just kind of jumping backwards and forwards to the same stations, but in the kind of early game, it's a very good and a very safe way of earning a bit of profit, you know. So we'll just wait to get released here. Docking clamps releasing.
Ship released.
There we go, so that's
Engines
us released. We'll just thrust upwards here and start engaging throttle. Now there are other players kind of hovering around here in AI, so I just need to avoid these guys. Make sure I'm not going to kind of run into anything and damage my ship. Because again, I can't really afford the insurance for this at the moment. Now I'll have loaded up with cargo, so I'm running a bit of a risk. And there's another player coming into dock here. So what I'll do is I will just pull up and thrust. Sort out navigation going back to Ibutis. So lock destination. We'll pull ourselves around to the Ibutis jump point. So they're all lined up. Now another thing I wanted to show you as well, at the moment you'll find that the ships do kind of fly like standard aircraft. You just pull and pitch and it goes where you need it to go, which I was kind of curious about at first because it is very kind of, it's not very space-like. If any of you play things like KSP or other kind of space simulations, you know that you can't just throw a spaceship around like it's a plane. But one thing you do have here is called pilot assist. And if I turn off pilot assist, as you can see, assists off. Now everything I do, it has an effect on the ship. So at the moment I'm still flying straight, but if I start yawing here, so I'm thrusting kind of across, I'm still travelling in that direction. So as you can see, I'm now kind of flying sideways here at the same speed I was. Now every movement I make, if I thrust to the right, then I need to thrust to the left to counter it, and vice versa. If I thrust to the left, I need to stop myself by thrusting to the right. Now to slow down, you can either reverse thrust, or you can line up with the direction of travel and then start thrusting forward. Ooh, there we go. So she doesn't like that, so there you go. I've now slowed myself down by thrusting away from my direction of travel. So it is just like flying a normal spaceship. And then if I want to just straighten out, I just switch on my assists. And it's like in the world of Star Trek, you've got inertial dampers. And I guess that's kind of what it is. It's like turning off the inertial dampers, and then the aircraft or the spaceship just starts flying like a spaceship, which is really quite cool. But it's also good in combat, because if you're flying around and you want to be a bit unpredictable, you can boost in one direction, hit the flight assists, kind of power down so you're not kind of changing your direction, line up with someone that you want to shoot, start kind of blasting him, and then kind of just hit your pilot assists off, or sorry, turn on your assists, then you can just change direction really quickly, which is quite a cool kind of fighting tip there, you know, for manoeuvring around a target. So yeah, but that's the pilot assist and how they work. So
Drive charging.
I'm outside of mass lock at the moment, so we'll just charge up the frame shift, and then we'll jump back to Ibutis. Another slight pause. And this is now taking its time. In fact, I think this may have bummed out. So I'm just going to pause this here, and I'll start again once we land in Ibutis. Again, this isn't early release, and it's still full of bugs. So yeah, this has crashed. If it was loading, then that'd still be moving around with my track error, so I'm just going to quit out of this or reset it, and then I'll reload when I get to Ibutis. So we'll see you then. Okay guys, so here we are, we're actually in the jump to Ibutis. I just had to do a quick reload. It is an early release. Just the max beta, so some bugs are still to be expected, but honestly, for what you get in this game, I honestly don't mind a small bug here and there, you know, having to do a quick reload. So again, we'll just lock into Chango Dock here. Oops. Need to turn away from the sun. If you actually fly into a sun's area of effect, which you can see by that yellow line going around the screen there, it'll actually stop you, but you can damage the ship by doing it, so you need to kind of be careful what you do there. So here you go. Oops. That blue light that you see there, that's actually another player in Supercruise, which is really quite cool. As you can see on my radar down there, there was two players kind of floating around. Now I've just got the one player who's up there somewhere. I guess he's probably on his way to Chango Dock as well. And I've got another player actually coming up behind me there as well. There he goes. That's the other player. I guess he's got his throttles turned up a bit more than I do. Another one. Crikey. It's quite a busy system, this. Because again, there is quite a lot of profit to be made by moving cargo between Ibutis and Owlin Enterprises. So we're just on the way in here. As you can see, I do have some kills. That was from my sound runner. I've got 3. And when you're flying around, you'll see like unidentified signals. And if you actually drive towards them, they're actually kind of either other players or like AI pirates and things like that, and some of them have bounties on them and they're wanted. And if you actually kind of kill them, you get like a bounty ticket reward, and you can kind of cash that in at like Federation's star bases, and they'll give you like the value of the bounty of the guy that you killed, which is another cool aspect. So if driving trucks isn't for you and you're not really kind of into the whole haulings, and you want to be a pirate or a space fighter or a police kind of operative, then that's something you can do. It's a valid strategy. You can kind of do whatever you want to do in this game. As the trailer says, you can just blaze your own trail. And that's kind of the cool thing about it. You just choose what you want to do and away you go. And for me, I'm not much of a space combat pilot, I suppose. It is quite enjoyable. It works very well in this, but personally, I just much prefer kind of moving cargo about. It's there's kind of a lot more to it. I'm being interdicted here. Interdiction detected, which means that someone's kind of flown close to me. Now, because I'm unarmed, it's quite dangerous for me being in this sort of situation. As if I've been intercepted by a pirate and he might want my cargo. So what I have to do here is just wait for my frame shift to come on, which is there. And I'm just using like full throttle with my engines fully charged and boosting away faster than most ships. So I just kind of pull away from them with my boosters, and then just jump as soon as I'm able to, and then that kind of keeps me safe, So the risk reward is it's kind of worth it not carrying that 4-ton weapon underneath. So again, just throttling up here, but trying to keep myself within the safe permitted speed. As you can see, the needle has got like a blue icon in it, which means I am auto-throttled. And because I'm quite close to that planet, that'll be kind of throttling my speed here a little bit as well. But as we start pulling away from that, our speed should start climbing a little bit here, which it is. And we're just closing in on Chango Dock here, and then as soon as we can, we'll disengage and then go for docking. Picking up speed quite quickly here, actually. We need to start throttling down. Okay, so safe to disengage. And then you disengage just by hitting the same frame shift button. And again, that's, as you can see in comms, was a Sidewinder. That was from that interdiction, who sent me a message saying judgment time. So I guess he was after my cargo. So quite lucky that we managed to boost away from him there and jump without getting shot at. So yeah, that's kind of how to be a freight runner, I suppose. Never a dull day in space. So if we just lock onto Chango Dock here, there we go. So we can see that's 13 kilometers away, or 12 now. We can see the docking port ahead. Got another player flying past us there. Cobra Mark III. A bit of an escort there. Hopefully he's not hostile and he won't come in and decide that he wants to shoot us. I've just hit the boosters, just getting a little bit of distance. Again, now we've got another player coming up behind us now as well, so the closer we can get to Chango Dock, the safer we'll be, because you'll enter like a no-fire zone. And if you try engaging, or if you open fire on anything, then the space dish will actually open fire on you. Ooh, hello. So there goes another, I believe that's Sidewinder or a Cobra possibly. So we're in range here, so we'll just go to contacts and request docking. It's going to do it again, isn't it? It's going to make us wait. Yep. So again, another quite busy system here, so they're probably full inside, so it's asking us to wait for a slot, which is a little bit dull. So So we'll just see if we can't request this again.
Request denied.
Request denied. It's definitely not liking us today. It is most probably
Warning.
because...
Request denied.
Yeah, it is most probably because the space station itself is full. It probably doesn't have any kind of landing slots inside, so what we need to do is just wait for someone to come out and then request docking, and then hopefully it'll
denied.
give us permission to land. So again, I'll pause the recording here and I'll resume as soon as we can get permission to land. So we'll see you again soon. And wouldn't you believe it, another bloody 30 seconds later and boom, request granted. I swear to God, it's because I'm recording. It must know. It must have some kind of system there that says, hey, you know, he's recording for a YouTube video. Let's mess him about as much as we possibly can. Just typical, isn't it? Sod's law. So we're landing in 13. Lucky 13, huh? And I think that is actually behind us. It's low and behind, so... and that's 34. Again, anybody seen 13? 13? Anybody? Anyone? What's that? That's 16. Twelve's there. Can't see 13 anywhere. I must be absolutely blind. That's 16. What's that there? That must be over. I know it's by the entrance. So we'll just fly over. Yeah. So we'll just turn around here. Now one thing you will find is that lateral turning or using yaw just takes forever, so by twisting and pitching you can kind of turn much faster. Yeah, so that's 13. Lucky for summer, as they say. So what we'll do is that we'll just use bilateral thrusters here to make sure I'm not actually going to hit anything. And that's us
Docking successful.
landed back at
Engines disengaged.
Chango Dock. And that's a round trip. Doesn't take long, but again, it's a very good way of earning profit. Just between Howlin and Ibutis. So we just go into the commodities market here, find those Terran enrichment systems, and then we'll sell those off. And as you can see there, just from 11 I've earned a profit of 7,678, which, considering in the early game you're earning kind of next to no profit at all. You're probably getting about kind of 200 to 300 a run if you're lucky. Earning 7,000 is a pretty big step up, and yeah, I mean that's kind of where I am in Elite at the moment. I'm just kind of doing courier runs backwards and forwards in order to earn profit to earn a bigger ship. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you've possibly learned something. And yeah, if you want to see more, or if there's something in particular that you'd like to see, then by all means please let me know and I'll see what I can do. And also, just for the viewers out there that enjoy watching the DCS and other content that I upload, never fear, I will be doing another flying challenge soon. I've got quite a good response to that, which I just want to say thank you very much for. And yeah, I'll have a video up within the next couple of days with some more DCS type flying about stuff. So again, hope you've enjoyed this, and this is Smudge signing off.